The Moors, or Muslims, of post and pre Columbian America.
The Moors or Muslims of post and pre-Columbian America. The English-speaking people called Muslims, Moors. As a result, to the English speakers anyone who was a Muslim was a Moor. In 1300s many Malayans sailed to the Americas. Although, most Malayans settled in Brazil, Mexico, and built the mounds along the Mississippi River, some Malayans settled in Florida. It is important to remember that at this time the vast majority of people in the Mali Empire were not Muslims. Around 25,000 Mande speakers set sail for the Americas in the 1300s from the Mali Empire of West Africa. Some of these Mande speakers may have been the ancestors of the Nanticoke. In AD 1312, Emperor Abubakari Muhammad of Mali gave his throne to Mansa Musa and embarked with his fleet into the Atlantic Ocean in search of the continent opposite Africa. Archaeological and epigraphic evidence indicates that Abubakari and or members of his expedition settled in pre-Columbian Brazil. The Indians have a tradition that Mansar Akban was the leader of another tribe which discovered the Cunan people. This Mansar Akban may be a reference to Mansa Abubakari, who led the Malayan voyagers to the Americas. The Manding lived in mounds along the Niger rivers. The mound cultures of ancient America were built by Africans, primarily Manding. The people of the Niger Delta formed riverine communities which were partly vegetation with some aquatic animals were eaten. The ancient Manding built several types of homes. In ancient times they built masonry houses and cliff dwellings identical to those found in the American Southwest. In medieval times they lived on mounds in the most watery areas in their circular huts made of stone and wood on the top, and their fields in front of the mounds tilled each day. The Malayan people introduced their technology to the Americas. The Manding built dwellings depending on the topography. Near rivers they lived on mounds. In semi-arid regions they lived in cliff houses, like those found in the southwest. Today the Dogon who trace their descent to the Mande live in identical dwellings as those found in Colorado, where Manding inscriptions dating to the AD 1000s have been found related to the Pueblo culture. According to Cadamosto, the Mali Marines wore white caps on their heads and a white tunic. On the side of the skull caps worn by the Malayan Martinez, a white wing decoration was emblazoned, and a feather was stuck in the middle of the skull cap. On board each naval vessel stood a marine with a round leather shield on the arm and a short sword. Other marines were armed with bows and arrows. Murphy reported that the Malayan military wore a uniform consisting of sandals, loose-fitting cotton breeches reaching down to the knees, a sleeveless tunic, and a white headdress of either cotton or leather, decorated with one or more feathers. The major weapons of the Malayan soldier included iron-pointed spears, daggers and short swords, wooden battle clubs and the bow and arrow. The Malayans left many inscriptions in the United States and elsewhere after they arrived in the Americas. These inscriptions are of two kinds. One group of inscriptions were meant to warn the Manding expeditionary force not to camp in certain areas. Washita Nation was not the first black Native Americans to reclaim their Muslim heritage. Nobel Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Scientist, was also part black Native American. I grew up on 47th Street. On 47th Cottage Grove the Moorish Scientists had a temple. It was here that I learned basics about the Arabic language from these brothers. Note the feathers in Noble Drew Ali's turban and the turbans of the Yamasee and Canadian Moors. Some of the Malayans were Muslims. The best evidence of Muslims in North America were the Yamasee/Yamasee. In the picture below we see many Moors wearing turbans and Kufik hats fighting the British. The Moors of Brazil and the American Carolinas also wore similar headgear in addition to turbans. Here we see the Malayan ruler compared to the leader of the Yamasee soldiers fighting the British. Both individuals wear the headgear associated with Malayan Marines. This cannot be a coincidence. It is further proof of the Moors in Brazil and the United States. The picture of Nobel Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish scientists, continued the tradition of wearing Moorish military garb going back to the colonial period of the United States. How many more Moorish communities were existing in the U.S. when Europeans got here? The Moors of Brazil and the American Carolinas also wore similar headgear in addition to turbans. Here we see the Malayan ruler compared to the leader of the Yamasee soldiers fighting the British. Both individuals wear the headgear associated with Malayan Marines. This cannot be a coincidence. It is further proof of the Moors in Brazil and the United States. The picture of Nobel Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish scientists, continued the tradition of wearing Moorish military garb going back to the colonial period of the United States. There were also Moorish tribes in Canada.